Hi Empaths, welcome back to my channel and back to Journey Through the Tarot. We're talking about our week with the Eight of Swords and introducing the history, symbolism, and divination of the Nine of Swords this week. This journey is inspired by Dirty and Divine, a transformative journey through the tarot by Alice B. Grist. She spent a day with each card. We're spending a week. And we're getting a lot of our information from the Tarot, History, Symbolism, and Divination by Robert M. Place, one of my tarot teachers. We're working with the Waite-Smith Symbolism in the Rider Tarot deck. Looks like that. Should you need any of those items, they're located in my Amazon store, linked in the description. So let's talk about our week with the Eight of Swords, which is about, constriction, confinement, feeling trapped. It can be self-imposed, just feeling stuck. What else? Could be a crisis. It's about you holding the keys to your freedom, but you're so wrapped up in anxiety, fear, and self-doubt, you cannot see that. And you are all you need to escape any situation or unhappy thinking. And so there's something that we need to release to get out of the self-imprisonment. But you're like trapped in your own head, choosing to stay and trapped or stuck. So that's really the theme of the Eight. And I have to say that is how I felt this week. Walking through a week with that card, I felt like the walls were closing in on me. I felt trapped. I went to thoughts about feeling trapped and confined in my job, in my work, in my life. It's and it gave me kind of a negative outlook here. I was doing a lot of work around manifestation though. And I could see that I had made progress. If I really looked. And I think that's the thing. It's what questions are you asking yourself? Are you asking high quality questions? And are you looking for progress, signs of progress? Because that'll keep us motivated on the path, right? If we can note that, oh, I've had some growth here, or there was a shift in this area, progress over perfection always. I think this week I was really tempted out of maintaining that positive outlook. I was tempted into feeling some helplessness, hopelessness, this stuck, stagnant feeling, and wondering, will I ever come out of it? And of course, it is impermanent, as all emotions are. And I could have easily just thought my way out of it with better thoughts, higher quality questions. And there were moments that I could do that. But it was interesting. It's interesting for work. I take calls, right? And so I am sort of confined. I have a device. I feel like it's kind of a leash sometimes, where I feel trapped. And my job is to talk to people who are sometimes angry, who are sometimes impolite, to say the least. And so I was playing with my influence there this week. I was playing with, well, if I'm already stuck here doing this and I have to do it, let me just use this constructively as a way of maybe experimenting with influence, right? How can I influence people with tonality, word choice, where I have them focus their attention? Can I divert their attention to something that, or instead of feeling oppositional, can I sort of take them by the arm and make them feel like we're walking down the path together? And hey, I'm here to help you. Sure. Okay. And I'll be a companion on your journey for a moment while we're talking. And I'm on your side, right? Give them that feeling of camaraderie. And how do I express that efficiently, quickly, and through the voice? Because not everyone's sensitive to energy, but I can certainly work with energy. I did send out a lot of healing scalar waves and things this week. There were people that really needed it. I talked to people that were suffering with coronavirus, right? Or COVID. And they sounded awful. So I sent them healing energy. I'm not really sure how to turn off the healer in me, even when I'm doing sort of just mundane work. And I think that's been a problem. It's not really a problem. It's just it's burdensome sometimes. And I've sort of always been that way. Even when I didn't have healing tools, even when I didn't have any healing skills, people would come to me and just feel like it was a no judgment zone, that I was just really understanding. And I think that is a strength of mine. I do have a lot of empathy. Clearly, urban empath. I talked to my best friend a lot this week. I think more than we have in a long time. We just wanted to be connected a lot this week. And he said something that was really moving to me about, he feels like I'm one of the only people that he can really be himself around and feel like he can say anything to me. It's just no judgment, and there's just so much ease between us. And I just feel the same way about him. I mean, that's what a best friend is, right? Like, someone who you're not putting up putting on a mask for. They're seeing all of you, and you're saying things without really censoring yourself. And while we do challenge each other, right, to grow and give each other really good advice and support one another, we can also just come as we are. And I think that that's something I'm really counting as a blessing right now, because I think not everyone has that. And sometimes you just have to say things out loud to get them out of your head, right? Or they just sort of echo in there. It's like an echo chamber. And if you don't say your thoughts out loud, it's like you're just a prisoner of your thoughts. And I sort of feel like that can be what this card is. I'm noticing that at work. People, as soon as I pick up the phones, just start telling me their life story. And I've had that for, I think a lot of empaths relate to that. People just, they feel so safe and comfortable that they can just kind of dump their entire life story on you. And I'm realizing that there's a real need for that not everyone has someone that they can go to and just be who they really are, and human connection is just so, it's becoming maybe the most valued resource and the most limited right now, so I can really see that. And everyone handles it in their own individual, unique way. I've been feeling very tired. I felt very tired this week. I could have done more to energize myself, but I do think that that's linked to thinking, right? The thoughts that I'm allowing in, the thoughts that I'm holding on to. what I'm choosing to think. And I was thinking about how I'm feeling confined, I'm feeling restricted, I'm not feeling enough freedom. And particularly that showed up because I signed up for a voice class that I was so excited for. I was just really excited to work out my voice and just see where I was at. I hadn't really seriously sung in a while. And I thought, when I sing, I feel like I'm free. I feel like I'm flying, right? It's one of the ways I heal myself, and it is connected to air. So that's interesting, right? Your breath is so interconnected with that. So, which is why it kind of feels like, that's why the metaphor for flying really, made sense to me. But I just didn't feel like it. I'm not in a place where I feel the freedom and the privacy to do that. I have neighbors right on the other side of the wall, and it doesn't feel good to sing. I'm really restricting. And anytime you're sort of aware, you can probably even hear it in my speaking voice now, anytime you're sort of aware of that, it affects how you sing, how you show up, and how you express yourself. And I was talking to my best friend about this because he's an artist as well. He's a performer. And how we were sort of made to fill up a room, right? We were, the kind of performers we are, were made to fill up a space with our voice. And so anything more, a little too intimate feels awkward, right? It just feels like I'm too intense for this small venue, this small space. Even performing in a place where other people can hear me, that just feels like I'm intruding, and I don't like that feeling. It doesn't feel safe for me to express, and it's really bad for me. It's really bad for my well-being to not be able to do that. So I've been trying to brainstorm of how to remedy that and how to find other solutions, because I am focused on really feeling alive and feeling healthy and doing good things for myself. And I have to prioritize that. I don't feel like myself if I'm not creating. I don't feel like life's really that bright or beautiful if I'm not. And I definitely felt that this week, that it's kind of lackluster right now, that sure, there may be other things I'm good at, that may be more profitable, but that's what makes life worth living for me. So if I'm not there, right, if I'm not in joy and experiencing that pleasure, what am I really radiating out then? And I'm very conscientious about the vibration I'm putting out. So I feel like you're helping the world by being in that space, really living in your joy, feeling fully alive and present. So, and radiating out those energies of love. And something I did feel more this week was peace. I felt more surrender, which I can see in this card, that maybe it is entrapment. Maybe it is feeling trapped and confined, but you can surrender to it as well. So I did notice more feelings of surrender to what is, and thinking, how can I use this for me? What can I do? If not that, then what can I do, right? Thinking along the lines of customer service. If someone asks for something and you can't do this, but I can do that, right? So how can I treat myself with the same care? I did a lot of manifestation work with the new moon. Releasing any sort of fears or burdens, this tendency to be overly responsible, which is, I think, a trauma response for me. It's also probably epigenetics. but or inherited, right? So what, working on releasing that sense that I have to be really responsible with everything, and prioritize myself and my wellness. So that was something I was doing with the new moon in Capricorn. I was also looking at money fears, any fears around earning what I feel like I am worth, the value I do offer. Any sort of fears of engulfment can be linked to fears of success. And I feel like I still am peeling the layers there a bit. Because of that sense of responsibility and still some pleasing tendencies that aren't helpful for me anyway. Which is also a trauma response, right? It's like the fight or flight. But there can also be pleasing tendencies in that. So I do think that's one of the things that I am experiencing right now and trying to release. Things feel heavy. I don't feel, I've been very tired. Vitality has been, I'm really working for vitality, really working for it, right? Finding, like, really vigilant about finding things to celebrate and moving my body so that the energy in my muscles can be utilized, right? So, and used for vitality. So I have been doing that mindfully, intentionally work with my breath, crystals. And when I need to work with people one-on-one, I just started wearing this organite pendant with a Celtic knot that a former colleague actually sent to me. She made it for me and sent it to me as a gift, and it's just really powerful. I think I didn't realize how powerful until I had the intuition to wear it this week, when I was starting to just feel zapped by work and just all the interaction. I just started to feel like I'm spiraling down, and I'm not having enough vitality to really sustain. So I started wearing that pendant, and I think it sits right at the perfect spot, like right around here where the starfish sits, and it's really good at deflecting, right, and trapping any darker energies so it doesn't penetrate, which is really good. Right, that's what the Celtic knot sort of symbolizes, is catching those denser, darker frequencies for protective purposes. So I think that's been working. And I've been really doing my breath work. In the recent Empath alchemy workshop that we did, she taught us about like the grid lines in the body, and as you breathe, scanning the body and allowing that awareness to sort of play them like strings, play these grid lines like strings, like a guitar. And so I've been doing that a lot, also horizontally, and that's been feeling really good. Like, it really makes me feel more in my body, and the breath work is very calming. It sends signals to the brain that you're safe, which is so important when, you're working with unpredictable people. You don't know who you're going to get on the line, and you have trauma around being treated cruelly. It's very easy to get triggered, and that breath work is just incredible. It's really helpful. Also getting, a lot of healthy nutrients in every day, making sure I'm eating bitter greens every day, and has been super helpful. It makes me feel like more stable in my, like, mood wise, and not having caffeine. I don't feel the highs and lows as intensely, and I don't feel as anxious. So that's really good. I definitely would like to have more vitality. And that's another thing that, I'm looking at is bringing in a better sense of freedom and vitality for a better quality of life. And that was hard to come by this week, looking at this 8 of Swords. That's not exactly the posture of somebody who's vital and happy to be alive and ready to just, do circles and twirls in the hilltops, just singing. It's the sound of music. Yeah, not really inspiring that here. So I didn't feel that this week. I definitely feel tired. I definitely felt like a lot of demands on my energy. And I'm looking forward to moving on, although I'm not really looking forward to this coming week. I imagine it's going to be challenging. But I mean, moving forward, creating more spiritual immunity is always positive. So I always see that it's worthwhile. Going through it, really strengthening the aura. In my healer training with Cindy Dale this week, we worked on the microbiome, working with microbes, and templates for healing, updating the templates that we have in our bodies. That was really powerful work. And in my business alchemy master's program, we worked on more sacred geometry and goal setting. And for me, it was really looking at emotional states as resources, like joy and inspiration. I put that in there, like, well, what do I want to manifest? I want to manifest creating an offer for people that feels playful to me. It feels like I'm playing. It feels like I'm using all of my strengths, my creative energy, and there's an ease to it, right? All the information I've gathered, because I'm so committed to learning every single day. That's what I do at work. In between calls, I'm watching my classes. I'm just absorbing information, learning new healing techniques, learning strategies for moving energy in the body and maintaining your energy. It's so important for me, because I'm very mutable energy and very absorbent as an empath. As I sort of heal this tendency, so that's a blessing, and I have to see it that way, that I'm able to still, invest in learning really important information that's important to me, things that I feel like I could help other people with. And I do feel like I can look and see how my healing work has really amplified. I'm just getting better and better, and that feels great. Just, getting more and more tools and practices that are supporting me, that can support other people. And some weeks it's going to be challenging. Some weeks it's going to feel a little bit like I'm going upstream, like I'm walking against the tide or against the current. And it definitely felt that way this week. I watched my friend Sergio recommended a series called Surviving Death on Netflix, and I binge watched it in 2 days. Might be part of the reason I'm tired. That's a lot of screen time, but it was really interesting and re-inspiring to me. Because it brought me back to what got me on a spiritual path in high school, and I was going to Catholic school. I was devoutly Catholic. I was so faithful. I was a believer. I had a really strong faith, and I read a book called Embraced by the Light. I think it was my senior year in high school, and I was so inspired by this woman who had a near-death experience and was describing what life was like on the other side. And that's what, I realized there are people out there that do have more information. And so that got me on this path of inquiry and seeking, well, if this person knows that, then there must be more out there, and even more. And here I thought I knew everything. I thought like studying the Catholic faith and, the teachings there, and it's very repetitive, which was helpful for me to feel certain. Like I felt like I knew everything. I felt very righteous. But that little bit of an opening of, there's so much more though, but there's more. Like there's people out there that know more, that have access to more. I wanted to know too. So that's what kind of got me on the path of learning about esoteric information, and I loved that. Something I'm thinking about right now is the posture of this person, the woman in this card. It is sort of how I feel after a hard day's work. It's not hard day's work, it's sitting at a computer. Let's be real. It's not manual labor. I don't know that I'm cut out for that. But I do get like this stiffness in my neck from how I hold myself, my posture. And I notice that my father has a lot of neck pain, and he sat at a computer for years. And so I'm noticing that's probably something that I have to look out for. So I know that working out and building muscle would really help with that, and even doing yoga. And so I need to look into doing that, just really prioritizing my health and well-being. I know that that's part of the reason I'm here in my hometown. That's this message that gets to me over and over again when I ask, why am I here? What am I doing here? And it really has been, not only to invest in my health and make sure that I'm taking stellar care, but also to protect me in a way from, I guess, things that are happening in the world right now. So I do feel blessed that I'm here with such a sensitive temperament. I don't know that I could take it in the city. In fact, that's why I left to begin with. It just became so overstimulating after a while. I just couldn't keep up anymore. My adrenals were done. I was so depleted. I'm starting to feel like that a little bit again, but I know it must be maybe like a mild depression or something, which I think I can work through. I just and I feel it's temporary. I just have to take better care. I think I'm going through it, and it's not adrenal fatigue because I'm not doing caffeine. But I mean, it still could be. I mean, just because I'm not doing caffeine, you could still be stressed. And even though I feel like I'm doing a lot to just make my body feel nurtured, you're safe, it's okay, I'm breathing, sending signals, stretching the psoas muscles, right? Those are all sending signals to the brain that it's safe, you know, we don't need to be on high alert. It's okay. I have to constantly send those signals because my body is just so prepared for any little thing for it to get triggered. So constantly doing that. I didn't sleep well this week. I felt like that was a precursor to the Nine of Swords coming up. And I think that's why I was also drawn to watch the Surviving Death series. I think that was definitely leading into Nine of Swords, right? Because it was a lot of people having vivid dreams or waking up with nightmares because of past lives. It reminded me of the work I've done with past life regression, receiving and giving as a facilitator of it, and the incredible experiences I've witnessed people having and recalling having. Sometimes it's boring, but sometimes it's incredible. Just for me personally, I felt like because I wasn't that in love with the work, it wasn't my main thing. And I think I'm still really honing what that actually is. That's part of my intention here with the business alchemy work and with this new moon. I definitely wanted to get clearer about how am I bringing all this stuff together, because I'm still interested in creativity. And what I'm finding is in performance as well as in manifestation work, we're working with imagination, and it's so powerful. And so I do have this vision of working with artists in supporting their process in manifestation as well as healing. And I think that would be so rewarding for me because I really value artists. I was just talking to my best friend about this tonight. It's so rewarding working with creative people. It's so rewarding for me. I really love it. And I think that might satiate that drive in me that wants to create, that wants to perform, right? Because I'm empathic, that might sort of quench that like longing to sort of be on stage or be creating or bouncing creative ideas off of another person or writing a script with somebody. I always worked better with bouncing ideas off of other people, right? Improvising with another person, like coming up with things. That always felt, it was easier to build momentum that way. It's harder to do it alone. So yeah, I definitely feel lower energy. So I'm sorry if you're sensitive and you're picking up on it. I'm just trying, I can't really fake it. It is kind of late at night. This was really my only day off. I had to go to the grocery and other things, so that kind of took priority. But yesterday I had classes and I was studying energy modalities and things, so it was definitely more screen time that maybe I didn't need. My eyes could have used a rest, but they didn't get it. But that's okay. It was still worthwhile. Anything else that's coming in? My best friend and I were talking a lot. We reflected a lot back on our time in the musical theater conservatory and our experiences there, and how it did and didn't prepare us for life outside. of that. And how we were categorized in that small sample of people. So, and how that might not have helped us necessarily really see the bigger picture and what was possible. And maybe some of the methods and approaches were outdated, to say the least. So we were just thinking about that, reminiscing and reflecting about how that influenced us as artists. And I was also noting how I felt so much pressure to learn how to belt because I didn't know how to do it. And when I finally kind of got it, I didn't really feel like it sounded great in my voice. So looking back at my most effective performances, I wasn't belting. So and while I understand it's like that style isn't going to get you gigs on Broadway probably, I get that. I hear that. So I understand why I was sort of being treated or being groomed that way. It was sort of like, but I had so many strengths I could have worked with. So I've been thinking a lot about that. And how that might apply to other areas of my life now. Where am I confining myself and boxing myself in and typecasting myself, and how can I break free of that? And I think that's the medicine that comes with this card, right? How am I entrapping myself and how can I break free? So that was my week. Let me know what your week was like, and let's move into the 9. So looking at the 9 of Swords, a woman sits up in bed with her hands over her face as if she has been crying. 9 swords hang in the air above her, pointing to the future as a somber warning. The quilt on the bed has a checked pattern. In the yellow squares, there are red flowers with a 4-fold structure. These are poppies, the symbol of dreams and remembrance. Poppies have also been associated with fallen soldiers since the 19th century, but this aspect of the symbol did not become popular until after World War I. In the alternating blue squares, there are astrological glyphs, which suggests divination. In a carving on the side of the bed, one man thrusts at another as if to stab him with a sword. This card represents nightmares, fear, and foreboding. And that's what Robert M. Place has to say about the card. Now, what might it mean if this card shows up in a spread for divinatory purposes? Can't sleep, haunted by thoughts and dreams, anxiety, stressed, losing sleep, insomnia, shame and guilt, misused words and keeping you up. One seated on her couch in lamentation with the swords over her. Death, failure, miscarriage, delay, deception, disappointment, despair. Comfortable morning, all is well in life, but you still feel down, maybe a little low. Even in spite of all you have and all you have achieved, there is a tendency to feel a bit less. Rest. Give some special time to yourself. Prioritize your basic needs. Know that rest is essential, not a luxury. Yeah, I definitely feel that overlap coming in from this week. I've been feeling that a bit at the end of this week. And looking at what the Biddy Tarot has to say about the 9 of Swords. Anxiety, worry, fear, depression, nightmares, right? Words I've already been using here. And the 9 of Swords suggests that dark thoughts and disturbing feelings are weighing you down and keeping you up at night. You are worrying excessively about a situation, and your negative thoughts are getting the better of you, leaving you stressed and anxious. The more you associate with your fears, the more they will rule your life. As you obsess over what's not working, the more anxious you become and the more you will worry. It becomes a negative cycle where one awful thought leads to another and another and another until they overwhelm you. Just as the 9 of swords are stacked upon each other on the wall, so too are your negative thoughts. Be careful, because the fear and worry in the 9 of swords can become a self-fulfilling prophecy. As you obsess over what may go wrong, you are more likely to manifest your worst case scenario because you are inadvertently acting in ways that support your negative thoughts. For example, you may worry that your partner will cheat on you even though you found no signs of infidelity. The more you stress about this potential outcome, the more your anxiety pushes away your partner until one day he feels so disconnected from you that he starts a new relationship with someone else. When you are repeating negative thoughts in your mind, you run the risk of manifesting them in your life. So the 9 of Swords asks you to break the cycle. Every time a negative emotion comes up, replace it with a positive one instead. The 9 of Swords reminds you that much of the fear and worry you are experiencing is in your head and not necessarily an accurate reflection of what is happening around you. You may make things worse for yourself by overthinking or obsessing over the worst case scenarios. It is time to examine your situation from a new perspective. Instead of looking for evidence of what is going wrong, put your attention on what is going right. Take a deep breath and realize that life is not as dreadful as it seems, and that the more you worry, the more harm you are doing to yourself. The 9 of Swords often crops up when worry, despair, and anxiety are quite literally keeping you up at night. You may not be sleeping well, or you are experiencing frequent nightmares. Your constant thoughts are preventing you from resting. When the 9 of Swords appears in a reading, it is time to reach out for help. You don't need to do this alone. Enlist the support of others to help you get through this dark period of your life. Others will help you see the light at the end of the tunnel and lead you towards a solution or a sense of peace despite your troubles. You are struggling to look at your situation clearly as you are plagued by negative thoughts. So having an objective third-party perspective will help you find your way out. So that's what we will be working with this week. So building, this resilient muscle emotionally, building emotional resilience by being tempted into these darker thoughts. This is an opportunity to create some fitness here with this resistance. Yeah, I can feel it. So I definitely feel like I used it constructively this past week. I do feel low, and in those low moments, those are the times to build the muscle, right? That's when it's needed the most. So hopefully that makes sense to you. And we're building immunity here, resilience spiritually and emotionally and mentally and physically. So let's use some sound to further integrate our experiences with the 8 of Swords and to call in experiences and synchronicities to help us work with this archetype of the 9 of Swords constructively and deepen our understanding of it. You might want to close your eyes and get in touch with your breath. Beautiful. Okay. So thank you for going on this journey with me. I really appreciate it. If you're still here with me, give me a comment and let me know that you're still watching. Maybe with is there a sword emoji? I don't know. Something like that to let me know you're still watching at this point. I really appreciate it if you are. Thanks for the loyalty. Thank you for liking the video and subscribing to the channel. I really hope that this is a worthwhile endeavor for you of experiencing cards as archetypes in this way. I know it's definitely deepened my understanding of the cards, how to work with them, building a relationship here so that I can give better readings, and work with them for manifestation as well. So I hope that's happening for you too, if that's your goal. And I appreciate you going on the journey with me. So if you want a personal session or to follow me on social media, my info will be in the description of the video. All right. I will see you in the next one. Bye, Empath.